Hello, today's video is a very quick and easy one. It's a very simple note card. This is going to be for my brother David, who is a musician, as you know, because he provides the music for my channel. The inside of the card is completely blank to leave plenty of room for writing a personalized message. This uses very minimal supplies, and I also wanted to show how you can utilize the mat and try to save a little bit of paper as you create the card design. So let me clear this away and show you how I made the card and tell you the materials that I used. Okay, I'm starting out with the card base cut 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a blue mat cut 5 1/4 by 4, a beige mat cut 5 1/4 by 4 also, and a black pattern music paper cut 5 by 3 3/4. I needed a gray square cut 3 inches, and I also needed another gray beige square, but this is a little bit more, but it needs to be about 3 inches. The ink I'm using today is going to be Versafine Onyx Black and Desert Sand Memento. I'm going to need a finger dauber, but if you don't have one, you could use a sponge or piece of paper or whatever you had. You could also use your finger for what we're going to do. I have a small stamp which has music notes and a G clef. I have a stamp which has a base on it. This is Stampin Up Jazz It Up stamp set. And I also have a Stampendous stamp which says just a little note. I'm going to be using blue sequins also. I'm going to be using a Paper Studios embossing folder which has the bricks design. I'm not sure if you can see it with this glare. I'm also going to be using stitched rectangles and stitched squares, die cuts. These are all the materials that I need for the card. Let me clear this away and then I will show you how to make the card. I'm going to do the stamping first. So I'm going to stamp the inside mat with the Versafine Onyx Black, and I'm going to just put these music notes in the lower corner. I'm using my stamping mat to make sure I get a good impression, and I'm happy with that. Clean this off. I have a rag here which is soaked in my DIY stamp cleaning solution. You can find out how to make this by looking the video on my channel. And next I'm going to stamp the base. Now this stamp, the next time you see this stamp, it's not going to look this way. It has, I don't know if you can see the dark area here, it has a lot of extra rubber here, and you may have this problem with some rubber stamps of your own. It's easier to show it than to tell it, so let me get a piece of paper and bring it in and show you the problem with this stamp. When you ink it up, you get a bit of a shadow image, and when you stamp it, it shows up in your final product. So what I'm going to do is get an X-Acto knife and cut this little extra rubber away so that doesn't happen anymore. But I may need to stamp this a couple of times because of that issue. But if it happens, all you need to do is take a rag and sort of wipe away the extra part that's inked, and just be careful to press the stamp straight down and straight up. But even doing that, I foresee that it will still do that. But let's see how we get. But you still need the stamp pad because this is a very solid image. So let's see. Well, this is not going to be too much of a problem because I'm going to be fussy cutting this base out. So as you see, I still got it because I forgot to wipe that. Now that I think about it, let's try that one more time because I have extra space. So I'll wipe that clean and try straight down and straight up. So no matter how many times I try with this particular stamp, I wobble it. So you can see there's a ghost image. So as I said, the next time you see that stamp, it's not going to look like that. Okay, now this stamp, I have given up the battle on this one, and this is another way I'm going to show you how to get around that. This is a wooden block stamp, so if you take your heat tool, or you can put this in a microwave for 10-20 seconds, you will loosen the stamp from the wooden block and the foam, and you'll be able to separate it, and then you can use this stamp without the block, just as if you had a clear stamp. There are many videos online which shows you how to remove your wooden blocks, unmount your wooden block stamps, so I'm not going to go too much into that right now, but I've already done it, as you can see, so the stamp peels right off from the foam, and it's slightly sticky on the back. So now that I have it, and this always gave a shadow image along it, I can use my Misty tool and get a good impression for this stamp. So let's just put this down, and I'm going to stamp that on this blue mat. And hold this because I don't want it to move, and I need it to be in the center of this mat, and there's a reason for that which I'll show in a minute. So I'll transfer it to the door. And I'm going to make sure that I don't get an image, so I'm going to test this. So pretend you don't see all that stuff. Turn it around this way. Whoops. Perfect. My sister Linda was just here for a vacation, and we worked a lot with this particular stamp, so if she's watching this video, she will appreciate the joy that is going through my heart right now to not have that little nasty shadow along the edge of this stamp. Maybe she'll comment on this video. But this stamp was notorious for that shadow, and that is how I solved that problem. I just unmounted the stamp, and the problem is no longer there. Perfect. Okay. Let me clear this up real quick, and I'll move to the next step. Next, I brought in my Big Shot because we need to do the die cutting. So taking the blue piece of paper and the larger of the squares, you're just going to center that in there, and the smallest of the rectangles. Now you want to make sure that the rectangle is centered around the text. But it doesn't really matter so much where the outer square is, as long as it doesn't touch either the left or the right side. But you also want to make sure that you're well in from the edge of the paper, because what we're doing is using the mat and cutting out the extra pieces for this mat and this mat rather than wasting another slice of paper. So you can always do this with mats that are covered and save some paper stock, but if you didn't care, then you could of course get another piece of blue paper. So and I also want to come out of there. First of all, that should be like that. I'm also going to cut the beige at the same time with the smaller square. As you see, this piece is larger than I needed. So let's line this back up real quick. Okay. And I'll just run it through. Okay, sorry for the popping around. So we have this square, which is this one, and this little thing here, and this is the mat. I'll set all this aside. And this didn't quite cut, so I have to run this through a second time. Hopefully it won't mess up. But when you get that problem with the die cut should pop just right back in to the impression with no troubles. There we go. Okay, set that aside. Now, I'm going to open up my platform because I need tab 2. And I'm going to bring in the embossing folder. Now this you have to make sure that this die cut has a front and a back. So you want to make sure that you have the front side facing up and put it in the die cut straight, because if you put it in crooked, your bricks will be crooked. And cutting plate. And notice that I'm flipping over my cutting plates to cut down on the warping. Every other time through, turn your plates. Okay. And there we have. I think you can see the brick embossing pattern. So let me move the big shot and show you the next step. Now I'm going to take the finger dauber and the Memento, and I'm just going to go over the impression of the bricks to give them a little bit of distressing and color. There we go. Now believe it or not, we are almost done. So I'm going to just let the music play and assemble the card, and please enjoy. Alright, that's the finished card. I'm just going to add a little bit of sparkle where the strings would be, but not too much because it has sequins on it, and I don't want to make it too flippity flip. So, as I promised, very easy, very quick. Some people have said that they don't feel that they're crafty or they don't have a lot of talent. And this card is to show you that it's very easy to put together something is very, very pretty and not taking a lot of time and a lot of materials. I hope you'll try this card yourself. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. There's a link down below where you can follow my brother David and listen to some more of his great music. Thanks for watching. Please pass the word and subscribe. Have a great day. Take care.